my name is Ariella Hyman, and I'm a managing attorney at the Alameda County Office of Bay Area Legal Aid. And I'm really excited to present the 2009 LAAC Family Law Award for direct representation to Minouche in recognition of her outstanding dedication and commitment to legal services for the court. After all, it's not often that one gets to introduce a coworker whom you hold in such high esteem, a colleague whose career you watched developed since you were law school classmates, and one's very best friend. Someone who not only has achieved exciting advances in domestic violence law in California, who's an inspiring educator and mentor, a tenacious litigator and advocate, but also someone who's a truly wonderful, generous, compassionate, fun-loving human being with, I might add, a very funny and contagious laugh. I'm sure you'll hear over these days at the conference. Minouche has spent her legal career expanding and protecting the rights of domestic violence survivors. A recent exciting example is her representation of Ms. Nakamura. Though Ms. Nakamura's husband perpetrated numerous incidents of physical and sexual assault against her, a Superior Court judge denied her application for a restraining order without even a hearing or an explanation. Minouche appealed, and the Court of Appeals issued a favorable ruling, which then led to pave the way for legislative action, such that now, because of what Minouche started, the law in California is that judges must explain their reasons for denying a TRO and must hold a hearing to consider restraining order requests. Minouche has successfully represented numerous domestic violence survivors over the last 17 plus years, and her advocacy and successes extend beyond family law. In her commitment to provide holistic, integrated services for DV survivors, she represents her family law clients in their economic security, housing, immigration, and other legal needs related to the abuse. On a systemic reform level, she was one of the attorneys responsible for California's adoption of the family violence option, which requires welfare departments throughout the state of California to address the needs of domestic violence survivors who must turn to welfare to support themselves and their children. She advocated to improve her local housing authority policies on domestic violence and litigated to hold that housing authority responsible for its fair housing violations. She was also an instrumental figure in the clemency movement for battered women, serving time in prison for acting against their abusers in self-defense, and helped raise public awareness and bring about legal reform in that area. I could go on and on about Minouche's accomplishments. But having worked very closely with Minouche on a number of projects throughout the years, I can say firsthand that she is brilliant, creative, quick on her feet, but above all, truly passionate and committed to the cause of justice. Our Executive Director of Bay Area Legal Aid, Ramon Arias, who really wishes he could have been here today, proudly stated about Minouche that she exemplifies the best in our profession and is a tribute not only to Bay Area Legal Aid, but to all legal aid attorneys who work extremely hard for their clients for very little pay and often without recognition. In that spirit, please join me in welcoming someone who's made a lasting and profound impact on the administration of justice for domestic violence survivors in California, my friend.
Thank you. One of the things Ariella neglected to mention about our early years together is that one of our classmates at law school was Barack Obama. So it shows you that law school is good for something, because if you can't get your dream job as a legal services lawyer, as a fallback to going to Getting this LAAC award is particularly meaningful for me because one of the reasons that I moved to California from the East Coast to practice law was because of organizations like LAAC. It was clear to me that there was a vibrant, diverse public interest community in California, but that even more impressively, the community collaborated and worked together, which is not always the case, and that they were able to achieve some really amazing results on behalf of low-income people and the pursuit of justice by that collaboration. And I was particularly fortunate when I started doing domestic violence work to find that there was an equally strong network of advocates in California working to end domestic violence, both statewide with the California Alliance Against Domestic Violence and the Southern California Coalition for Battered Women, which later became the California Partnership in Domestic Violence, and then regionally and locally. And in San Francisco, I've been particularly lucky to be part of the San Francisco Domestic Violence Consortium, which is also a model for collaboration of domestic violence agencies around the state. And it's having that support and feeling part of a broader movement which has really sustained me in this work all these years and really kept me from burning out, both in terms of the technical assistance that I've gotten and also in terms of the friendships and the emotional support that I've gotten. The other reason I've been able to do this work for as long as I have is because of the amazing place that I work, Bay Area Legal Aid. To begin with, I've got some amazing colleagues, and they're out here in force today at the conference, so hopefully I get to meet some of them because they're an amazing group of attorneys and advocates. But I also need to thank Bay Legal for two other really strong ways in which they've supported me. The first is that Bay Legal has always prioritized the importance of doing time-consuming direct representation or taking on important policy work, even if that means sometimes sacrificing quantity for quality. But that has enabled us to provide really meaningful change in sometimes the lives of individual clients or sometimes on a more systemic level. The other really important way that Bay Legal has sustained me is in recognizing the importance of allowing people to have flex time and have part-time, which has enabled me to have a family and raise 2 children since I've been at Bay Area Legal Aid. And if there are any managers out there who doubt that someone can work part-time and do meaningful work, here's your answer. The really important part of my life that sustains me is my partner, Rick, whose true partnership in our home has really made my juggling of family and work possible, and who has been my true safety net on those many occasions when I've dropped a few balls and the juggling went a little awry.